fitness family. Sarah Pellegrino here, your host of the Value Proposition by the Fitness Business Podcast, software and billing consultant, coming to you live with ASF and Club OS's own Nick Hahn, VP of Product. Nick, welcome back. We have made it to our final episode of the Talk Data to Me series. What a fun year it's been.
It has been a fun year. I'm just as excited for this last episode as I was for the first. For different reasons, though.
On our last episode, Nick, we reviewed key data points shared from the State of the Industry report from ASF and Club OS that you all were so kind to survey the industry, sampling fitness business owners, and compile the data for us. So if you're listening and you missed that report or Talk Data to Me episode 4, please be sure to check them both out. There's a lot of helpful information that can assist you in starting 2023 off on the right foot. On today's Talk Data to Me episode, we're going to focus on the best of 2022. So we'll talk about things like the best data points to help you plan, best software features, best trends, and what that all means as you head into a brand new year. Ready, Nick?
No, but let's do it.
We're jumping in. If I am skimming the State of the Industry report and am going to read one data point to best help my business in this coming year, what data point are we paying extra attention to?
In my opinion, it's the adoption of mobile apps amongst brands. The idea that 1 out of every 3 brands still doesn't have a mobile app for their members just feels wrong. And then looking into next year's data and what the trends we want to see for next year is not just, do you have a mobile app, but what is your members' adoption of that mobile app? That's that second generation metric that we're going to start looking at next year.
Very, very good point. Definitely something good to keep your eye on. Now, Nick, what statistic gives you the most hope going into 2023?
Yeah, so we've been looking at a lot of the marketing data, especially around Thanksgiving timeframe. And as we went through the month of December, the success of the integrated automatic campaigns, specifically around SMS, has really been killing it for our customers. We are seeing numbers that are better this November and this December than the same times last year, which is great, which is the great trend that you want to be on, because we all believe we need a January that's better than last January. So seeing that November and December are lining up and following the more predictable patterns that we like seeing gives me a lot of hope.
Now, are we still anticipating January to be the big membership month, or is it February now? Like, what, when we look at data, does that look like?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think the overall membership month is going to be January. February is where you might actually get the most incremental revenue, though, because that's where you can start upselling your brand new membership base with add-on services. So January focusing on the member base, February focusing on the upsell, and adding that additional recurring revenue to your membership base, to the new members also, adding PT to all these people who just onboarded. That's where there's a lot of revenue potential between the first 2 months.
Love it. And then with the texting data that you just gave us previously, that is great to hear, right? Because the members are back, they're engaged, and I'm sure you can do text campaigns to upsell them on those certain areas that you just referenced.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, really important in that initial onboarding of a member.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Great insights there. All right, time to think broad. So you travel to a lot of fitness centers and you speak to a lot of fitness business owners and experts. So what, in your opinion, was the best fitness trend of 2022?
Sure. In my opinion, it is the movement towards wellness, both from a nutrition aspect and a recovery aspect. That's been a nice change of pace. It's not just about losing weight as much through exercise. It's also that holistic wellness. The younger generations are more in tune to that. So seeing clubs offer services that align with the younger generations, I think is again another great indicator and has been a huge trend that I've seen in 2022. It's always amazing every time I go to a new brand for the first time, I see some new piece of equipment. But what's been consistent is that everyone has been slowly rolling out the new nutrition or recovery programs across the board.
So if someone has yet to roll out any wellness/nutrition products in their business, Nick, where can they start?
That's a good question. The easiest thing would be to repurpose existing space that is not quite getting the ROI that you imagine. One of the things I've seen happen is the idea of a cardio cinema has been kind of fading away in value. Part of it is because people like Sarah have a nice little at-home exercise bike in front of a huge TV that if she wants to watch something while she's exercising, she can go ahead and do that. So you don't need to be in a dark, dimly lit room at a big box gym to get that experience of distracting yourself while while grinding cardio, which is for a lot of us, if we're doing that 45-minute, 30-minute hour class, we're trying to just disassociate from reality while doing it. So more and more clubs are starting to repurpose that for recovery centers, for an area where you can have a nutrition desk and a certified nutritionist who can be providing the expertise, or your Theragun lobby where people can be coming in and using their Theraguns. So repurposing that existing space to be more effective, it has been great for owners.
Great recommendation. And that's such an easy way, usually, that those are not things that are going to take a huge investment, right? But the return could be change, like really honestly, change your business, right?
Because it can all be add-on potentially, right? It can be, you can lock off the center, it can be an exclusive area, it could be a pay per use, so you're generating additional revenue. And if you knock down that wall between the cinema and the rest of your gym, you also just have more space for potentially additional powerlift stations.
Yeah, very true. Very, very cool. Nick, what is the best piece of fitness technology in the market right now? It can be an app, it can be fitness equipment. What's out there?
I think it really is the mobile apps that are starting to exist. There's still so much untapped potential within mobile apps. With brands as large as Planet Fitness getting rid of key tags for new members in favor of leveraging their mobile app, there really should be more widespread acceptance of evolving that member experience to include the digital aspects. We're not trying to replace other digital experiences, we're trying to augment them. And then once you get that mobile adoption within your membership base, you now have a new avenue to drive additional retention and upsell activities, because it's a lot cheaper, free, to do push notifications to a mobile app than it is to send a text message, and you're still getting to their phone. In addition, you don't have the same opt-out or other restrictions, and you're getting them to engage. You can get them into your app, and then you can provide them with other value and other content to keep them engaged and keep them wanting to remain a member with you.
And to your point, it's a lot easier to reply stop to an automated text message than to go in, delete the app. To your point, my key tag's in there, I don't want to delete it. So that's a good point.
Which is why it's also important to balance how you're using those in-app notifications. You don't want to be like one of those mobile games that your child installs that's just constantly spamming you with notifications to try to get you back into the app. Yeah. You want to find a healthier balance between the two. There's certainly a happy medium that makes a lot more sense for the industry that we're in.
We don't want them turning off notifications.
No, you want the notifications. You just want them to be the relevant notifications to them.
So fitness apps that are linked to club management software and or I'm assuming Club OS's app, things like that. Are there any other fitness apps, even if they're not one of yours, that have caught your eye? Any nutrition apps, anything else cool out there?
So I think the space has become so competitive that there's so many apps out there at this point. At the same time, they're all struggling to stay profitable and to monetize themselves post-COVID. even an app like MyFitnessPal that has historically been extremely easy to access is now charging their customers for the ability to scan a barcode on a label, which is just such an additional barrier to entry that even I don't use MyFitnessPal like I used to anymore because that's just annoying and it's
Either.
just almost disrespectful. It's like, what of all the like I get you need some money, but like uh, you pick your most important feature, probably one of your top used features. So
And we
it's
used it
awful,
for free for so long. That's the
right?
for me.
Yeah, exactly. It's just and that one feature alone doesn't justify the jump in cost.
No.
That's why within the ASF mobile app that we have that nutrition scanning as part of the app. It's built in. It can be a service that your location provides, and you can gain that stickiness where people will have potentially lost the app that they were using for tracking their nutrition right when they're about to go back and start thinking about, oh, I got, after December, I need to start counting my calories again. We're about to be at that point where we're all going to start looking at the scale and get back on and be like, okay, that was the damage. Let's fix this.
Not today. We're not scanning today, but
No, next week,
not
next
even.
Monday, two Mondays from that. Well, then it's always next Monday.
That's right. That's right. All right. So I feel like now we're talking. Now you mentioned the ASF mobile app. So let's hear it. Is there a software advancement within either ASF or Club OS or both? You can give me two that will best set owners and operators up for success going forward.
Yeah, I think it's the common thread that we've already been talking about of leveraging the technology that Club OS and ASF has as an integrated solution to help onboard members and upsell them towards those recovery and nutrition services. It's been great to see customers leverage the integration capabilities to sub-segment their users towards the demographics that are going to be more likely to participate in those. A second great thing that I've seen people using is starting to target members based on when they joined and canceled. So if the member joined last January, but they've canceled since and potentially they canceled in the summertime area, that's a great former member to go after again to try to get them to rejoin because they have a history of joining in January. They have a history of quitting in the summer when people get busy. They're probably interested in joining again. Get them going for their next cut, right? It's that cycle that we have. So having that finer grained segmentation of who you're targeting with a potential better offer than you're offering the general public is very personal and makes them feel like you're more invested in them and their success.
So the ability to have that data at your fingertips, is that new or is it just, have you added reports that now include that to your clients? How does that?
Yeah, it's the increased segmentation that is offered when setting up your campaign. So it's the additional filters and functionality to be more targeted in who you're communicating with what message.
Okay. And then I want to go back to the apps. You said scanning barcodes in your ASF app. Tell us more. What else does that app do?
Well, yeah. So beyond the obvious things like checking in and scheduling into group classes or scheduling personal training, it does have a full nutrition tracking functionality and a full workout tracking functionality where one of your personal trainers at the location can actually assign a workout regimen. So maybe we only meet once a week, but you want me to do two other exercises on my own throughout the week. The trainer can actually push that to the member and the trainer can see the results of that. The trainer can also see the nutrition information and the exercise tracking and the general workout tracking it has. So you can even see, hey, great job, Sarah. You did that Peloton workout last week. Good job. I'm going to see you tomorrow. And based on what you've accomplished in the last week, I'm going to tailor your workout this week even differently because you already did legs and arms. So now we're going to do, back. We're going to do our back day this week.
Very, very cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love to hear it. That's great. All right, I'm going to pivot just a little bit. I am very curious which generation you think has the most potential to help grow the global fitness industry. So, what I mean by that in data terms is who should fitness owners and operators be targeting in their marketing efforts this coming year?
It sounds obvious, it sounds repetitive, but it is Gen Z. The challenge is they pose an interesting problem for operators on how they market. A lot of them already value wellness. You're not trying to talk Gen Z into being healthy. They intrinsically know they want to be healthy. They intrinsically have some kind of value on health. They also have access to near unlimited information between social media and just the web at large. There's thousands of influencer experts focused on wellness that are constantly competing for Gen Z's attention. So we as brands within the fitness industry have to find a way to differentiate ourselves from those voices or augment ourselves and align ourselves to the correct voices while supplementing what they're saying. So no longer is someone's full idea of fitness to just go to the gym 3 times a week. It's now to go to the gym 3 times a week, to go out for a ride, to go out for a run, to eat well, to meditate, to do some yoga. It's this whole continuum of wellness that we now need to talk about and educate our prospects on how our services can fit within that continuum instead of trying to replace their existing continuum.
Great point. Thank you very much for that. Speaking of attracting new members, what is the best marketing tool or method in the fitness space to date? And what I will say is that if it's different for boomers and different for Gen Z, I would be interested in knowing your opinion on that.
So the best tool across all generations is your members. It's creating that social experience that a member of any age, any demographic wants to bring their friends, wants to vouch for you, wants to talk about how cool you are. Really gaining that member experience and encouraging them to talk about you, encouraging them to reshare your social post, to advocate on your behalf. That's by far still the most powerful marketing tool. Those relationships. Humans are ultimately relationship driven, and that's just what it is. Now, from a secondary aspect, there is still text messaging. Text messaging is more successful to the younger demographics. Phone calls are still more successful to the older demographics. That's still very true. That hasn't been upended this year. We're continuing to see those trends. But at the end of the day, really finding a way to get your members to be your strongest advocates is a great way to have a longer term healthy member base.
I love that answer. You've given it before, and I always forget that that's your favorite. Like, that is so good. Thank you for reminding us of that going into the holiday season. That's great. All right, Nick, going into a very busy season for the fitness industry in general, what is the best way to capture the January and February rush of members that we can expect to see?
Yep. So I think there's two aspects that clubs don't do a good enough job of taking advantage of. First, the reality is your staff's going to be slammed. You probably are still running leaner than you have in the past, and fingers crossed, you're going to be busier than you were in the past. They're going to feel real pressure. You need to make sure that while they're feeling that pressure, they are tracking every phone call and every walk-in immediately in your CRM. We see still time and again, too many leads come in and not be tracked, and those marketing dollars are being effectively wasted and not used as efficiently as they could be. If you're the type of facility that offers a very low upfront or potentially nothing upfront in exchange for a commitment, there is going to be a high portion of traffic that walks in saying, I want to sign up for that membership today, but then leaves without signing up once your staff sits them down to talk about the full commitment. If you haven't already put them in your CRM, you're now not going to have the opportunity to retarget them, or potentially in a couple of weeks, offer them a no commitment option to try to speak to them differently and change their mind and overcome their objection for joining. In addition, since the staff's overwhelmed, we actually recently launched new functionality within our software that is a quicker, more streamlined way of adding telephone inquiries that drastically reduces the information required and will have the salesperson follow up afterwards to complete the entire picture. So the idea is to get that MVP minimum information in on the prospect. That way they're there. That way, if they end up not coming in, even though they say they're going to, oh, what time are you open? Because I want to come in. Even though they might not come in, you still have captured their information so that you can follow up with them afterwards. The second big thing is that just because you sign up that member in January does not mean they're going to be there for the life of their agreement. You need to retain them. You want to keep them active. You need to be thinking now about setting up communications and staff outreach in the first 90 days of that new membership. The messaging needs to be tailored to who they are based on their membership type, what services they've purchased, or how active they've been. That first month, if their usage starts to slip immediately, that's a great time to confront them before they turn into that sleeping giant and to try to keep them active. So if they go a week without checking in their first month, reach out. That's a great time for a phone call. That phone call is worth it in the long run, especially since they've recently signed up. They're more likely to say, hey, my local gym's calling me. Maybe I'll answer it. Maybe something's wrong with my account. What's going on? I'm intrigued. It's not just a random call. I have joined. So it's a great time to really build that relationship and turn them into powerful advocates for your brand in the long run.
Engage and retain. Those are your buzzwords for 2023.
Exactly. You're going to sell memberships. How long are you going to retain them? And can you engage them in upsell?
I love it. I love it. Beautiful way to tie bow on this series for us, Nick. Thank you so much for your insights today. Thank you all for joining us for episode 5 of Talk Data to Me and for your support this year. We hope you all have a wonderful holiday season and a successful 2023 ahead.
Thank you.